Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to call to order this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie for December 3rd, 2025, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll begin with the roll.
Okay, good evening, Bill Reuter, First Ward.
Hello, I'm Barbara Laird, Second Ward.
Michael Zafone, Fourth Ward.
Ryan Sharp, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schurshin, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk. Emily Svensson, Attorney to the Town.
Ann Berger, Ward 3, was not able to join us tonight. Rebecca Edwards, Town Supervisor. Okay, I want to just give two happy announcements. The first is that it looks like our the two EV trucks that we purchased, pickup trucks, Ford Lightnings that we purchased with some of the ARPA funds and our Climate Smart money from all the incredible work that the Climate Smart Task Force has done, are coming tomorrow, or at least they're on the truck from Rochester. They're supposed to be on the way. So the Recreation Department and the Zoning Department will each have a chance to have an electric vehicle pickup truck, and we can work with those and see how they, how they work. But there's all kinds of grand plans, including using the truck to power movies in the park next summer and things like that. So those were on the way. And secondly, we heard yesterday that we received the grant from Dutchess County to partner with the Kingston YMCA next summer and do our second annual free youth summer basketball league. So that's going to happen again next summer, which is really exciting. Okay, we're going to begin tonight with 4 public hearings, and then when we're done with those, we will open for public comment on any other item that's on the agenda for the rest of the agenda tonight. But we'll start right in. Do you want to start with the first public hearing, Mr. Reuter?
Sure, make a motion to open the floor for public hearing to discuss a local law establishing regulations for commercial filming. Amendments to the local law, specifically Chapter 108.
Okay, and we did make some changes. The board got the red line version of this. We're continuing to work on some revisions. So this public hearing will continue on December 17th. We're not going to vote on this law tonight, but we're going to work on it tonight and hear public comment and then continue the discussion on the 17th.
I second opening that.
Okay. Sorry, we should have done that first.
That's okay.
All those in favor of opening the public hearing? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then the public hearing is open for anyone who may want to comment on our proposed law to set up an application process and review process for those who want to do commercial filmmaking in the town. And we'll usually start with people who are in the room, and then we'll move to people who are online. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in the room who'd like to speak on the proposed commercial filming law? Okay, then I see Doreen online. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm not sure if I missed something, but the meeting room camera is not on.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Thank you.
Oh,
See if we can get that fixed.
Okay. Yeah, and as far as the filming law, that didn't go up till about 3:00 today, so I didn't have time to thoroughly review it. Oh, the camera's working now.
Okay, good, thank you. We had a prior version, and there have been some, we're just, making some adjustments,
Right.
So the new version went up this afternoon.
Right, so all I was going to say was I will be making probably more detailed comments, but one of the things that I had to say was that it seems to me that one of the things that you really need to consider is what the application fee will be. I know that I saw there was a comment in there from somebody from one of the film companies, and he said that the application fee should be no more than $150. And I don't necessarily think that the film company should be dictating what the application fee is. That's something we would look to the town board to figure out, and what's in the best interest of town residents, not in the best interest of the film company. And the only other thing quickly is under permit classifications, number 6, type 1 permit, it reads A, B, C, and E. There's no D. So that's just something that you might want to check on. Thank you.
We'll change E to D. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, anyone else to speak on the commercial film law tonight? Okay, seeing none, then I would move to adjourn the public hearing to our next meeting, December 17th, to make sure that everyone has time to see it. Is that the right?
Well, we actually have the resolution here, resets the hearing for that date so that we can renotice it. So I think we can just go ahead with this resolution.
So would you
Got
like to actually close
It
this
closes this
hearing
one and opens
then
it
open
again
back
on
up?
the new
Do you
version.
want me to read it?
Sure.
Perfect.
Or you
That
can
would be
just
great. Yeah,
summarize it.
you revised it today, so thank you.
Great.
Yes, please, Bill, thank
All
you.
right, so we're closing the meeting for today. We're going to, due to substantial amendments, the local law establishing regulations for commercial filming requires a new public hearing. That hearing date will be December 17th at 7 p.m. Town Hall. To obtain further input from the public, have board discussion and vote. Be it further resolved, the proposed amendment are hereby attached here to incorporated in the exhibit. This is a local law type 2 action pursuant to secret, not requiring no further environmental review. And should this be adopted, the said local law, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one question about the section, about where it says loss of revenue for the town, and I was just wondering, what sort of scenarios are we envisioning where we'd have lost revenue to the town? Now, the second portion seems to make more sense, where, to compensate and or restore such affected areas. So I could see that if, if they damage some things and walk away from it, I can definitely see that we want to be able to go after them and take repairs and whatnot, but what sort of, do we feel in town for any lost revenue? What are we feeling that would be involving?
I can't, it's hard to imagine that, but
Yeah.
I could imagine, for example, that someone wanted to, film at Greenvale Park for a week, and so we lost our summer camp revenue or something of that sort. I think it's much more likely that we would have damage at a public piece of
Yeah.
property, but
And-
it's always possible that there would be some kind of, some kind of revenue loss from an event that we were hosting or
Oh,
a camp or something like that.
That I get, if they're, not even summer camp, because we would just refuse that, we wouldn't allow them to do it. But I could see that we do rent other parks.
Right.
But then again, they would be renting the park, and we'd be just refusing those other people to use it, so.
Right.
Maybe that could be for a specific location, maybe blocked access to a certain establishment for a short amount of time. I mean, you could push it any way you want, but that's probably.
Yeah.
And I think we could certainly make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of the second portion of it, but still, normally they go through and compensate people like that, because then again, we can still just decline the permit.
Correct.
Right. So we're not planning to make more changes to this, but we'll come back and discuss it further on the 17th. In response to the question about fees, we don't want to put the fee in the code, but you make it part of our fee schedule that we adopt each January. So the fee, everybody's very welcome to comment on what fees should be, but they won't go into this law, they'll go into our fee schedule. If we adopt the law, they'll go into the fee schedule in January. And there's both an application fee contemplated, and then for commercial filmmaking, a daily fee for filming. And we could create a schedule for that. We could post that schedule. We could, as some municipalities keep that schedule, as available in the clerk's office and for discussion, or, do it on a case-by-case basis. Different people do it
You
in
said
different
the
ways.
17th, but if we approve this tonight, this is taking effect immediately. It's not putting it towards the 17th, so basically it closes the public hearing and puts it forward. This is what this says.
No, we are closing tonight's hearing, re-noticing it, and having
Oh, okay.
another hearing on this revised language, next, on the 17th.
I'm just looking
Right.
at what this language says.
Yeah. We will continue the discussion so that everyone has a full chance to see it.
This language doesn't say that, though.
I think that this is a different version of the resolution
Okay.
than the one that Bill read.
Okay.
We've got two versions here because it changed this afternoon.
Okay. Well, I got the
Okay.
original.
All right, so what
Sorry
we're
about
voting
that.
to do is close is to vote on this resolution that will enable a second public hearing on the 17th.
Basically, you're setting the date.
Right, we're setting the date, exactly. All right? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 6-0. Okay, then our second public hearing on Manor Hill Mobile Home Park.
This is a public hearing requesting that the zoning for the tax parcel located at 246 North Grand Avenue, consisting of approximately 5.53 acres, be changed from single-family residence to mobile home residence. So moved.
Second.
Working up.
Okay, so all those in favor of opening the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 6-0. So public comment is open for those who want to speak on this proposal for rezoning at Manor Hill Mobile Home Park. Welcome. Would you like to speak first? Yes, you have a presentation for us. Great.
Sure.
Great.
Thank you, Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Taylor Palmer with the law firm of Cuddy and Fader on behalf of the applicant. I am joined by Christian Paggi of Paggi Engineering and my colleague Jessica Zala is somewhere in the Zoom world. As you mentioned, we are here before you for our continued review of the applicant's pending petition, which is for a zoning map amendment to map the about 5.5 acre property from the residence, single-family, 20,000 square foot R20 zoning district to the residence mobile home RMH zoning district. I know it's been a few minutes since this has been more fully before you, actually 2024, and we're briefly updated you back in November. The board went through this as we were resetting this for continued public hearing. So let me start by there have been a number of substantive changes to the project that reflect comments from your board and then the various other boards, the planning board and their consultants throughout that time. With that, if I may, just for the benefit of the public, I will provide a short overview which dates back the project to December of 2017, so happy anniversary. As is detailed in the October 28th submission that we made to you all, the 5.5 acre property is located east of North Grand Avenue, and it's located immediately west to the existing 62 unit mobile home park community, which is south of the Dutchess County Rail Trail. The property is presently classified, as I mentioned, in the R20 zoning district. And as part of the application, we are also we're pursuing this change to reclassify this property into the RMH zoning district. We're proposing to construct 14 total mobile home units at the property, which will each contain a manufactured home and then 2 parking spaces that will be on the site. As the board will recall, the applicant actually originally proposed 22 total units for this site, and it was last before you in 2024 was actually 16. So we're down another 2 units from when you last heard it, so to speak, back in 2024. Following your requests to add some additional open space, we did reduce it down to 14 units, and now the plan does include an amenity space, which includes grill areas for residents, together with visitor parking, which was a request of the planning board. We've also taken significant time to refine this project, really to try and respond to all these consultant comments. Since we were last before you in 2024, we have been back before the planning board as recently as October, at which time the planning board did issue its negative declaration in accordance with seeker. That confirmed that the project will not have any significant adverse environmental impacts. In addition, when we were there, the board did relay a positive vote to recommend town board consider adopting or approving zoning reclassification. Christian does have the current site plan that's up on the screen in front of you and the associated improvements, which did include additional changes to the water and sewer connections, landscape screening, privacy fencing, stormwater management, and then open space. So importantly, as requested by your board, and we discussed with town staff, the proposed 25-foot road through the property will connect to Van Wagner Road. As a change to the project, responding to the public comments relating to traffic concerns and sightlines from North Grand Avenue, we've elected to restrict the access to this roadway for emergency purposes only. Primary access to the project will be provided by Van Wagner and through the existing mobile home park. So again, North Grand Avenue now will only provide a secondary emergency means of access to the property, and it will be secured by a gate, of course, accessible by the fire department. There's some other discussions that we've had with town staff throughout, and Kristen can certainly touch on those to the extent that the board sees fit or the public has comments. But we did recently understand that the town was the recipient and was awarded $200,000 in CDBG monies towards sewer system upgrades in this area for the North Grand Avenue pump station. So we did discuss that with the board, with the board's consultants, and we've talked about associated costs here, and the applicant is willing to provide some additional reasonable costs associated with the upgrade to this pump station that exceed what the grant was provided here. I think importantly, the existing pump station has capacity for this project, but its age has led to that discussion and why the applicant is now also going to commit to sort of filling the gap for that upgrade. With those updates, I can turn to Christian, kind of just give a quick walkthrough for the benefit of the public, and then we're certainly pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Sure, just quickly, Taylor pretty much summed up the history and the project scope. Just to give a quick review of the site plan, again, this is if you can see my cursor pointing to the North Grand access that is now going to be gated for emergency access only. As Taylor mentioned, all of the residential ingress and egress will go through the existing Van Wagner. Access to the existing Manor Hill Mobile Home Park. The Dutchess County Rail Trail is adjacent to the north. There is about 70 to 80 feet of buffer between the property line and the rail trail. There's also existing fairly dense vegetation and also a pretty significant vertical grade drop from the mobile home park down to the rail trail. This was all reviewed by Dutchess County DPW, and they were satisfied with the screening that we're proposing via the stockade fencing, given the existing vegetation and the existing topography providing a natural screen. As Taylor mentioned, each mobile home, we're showing double wides for each unit. They're intended to be, a higher end mobile home, manufactured home with more residential style roof pitch and construction. Again, these are larger. Some of these are 28 by 68, so a fairly a decent sized home that we're looking to put in here. And each unit will have two designated parking spaces, and as Taylor mentioned, the planning board did ask that we provide a little bit additional overflow parking for visitor or service parking. The open space area that we're providing, there were two additional units that were proposed here adjacent to the existing Manor Hill Mobile Home Park. We did remove those after hearing the comments from this board back in 2024, and we're now showing some recreation area there in the form of picnic tables, grills, and gazebo. The light blue and green areas are existing and proposed wetland areas where we are disturbing some existing wetland only to accommodate the new drive, private road through here. We reduced all the wetland impacts to the extent that, again, the only impacts are related to the drive, the driveway, the private road through here. So the lighter blue is the wetland mitigation areas that we were showing and were reviewed and approved by the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as the planning board's and environmental consultant has weighed in and found those to be acceptable also.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's a thorough review. Any questions people have?
Yeah, so forgive me if this was on your old, or your, previous drawings. Who's going to manage the park?
The owner of the property,
Who
who
is?
currently manages the adjacent mobile home park.
Who is that? Is that Elgin?
Pardon?
Who is that? I don't recall.
It is Bettini Properties.
It's a Bettini property, okay. And so you don't have any idea what the lot rent is going to be, or the price per the unit is going to be?
I do not.
Okay. Okay.
The recreational and green space that's provided here, is that accessible to current residents of the other portion, the existing portion of the mobile home park, as well as to these residents? And do they currently have similar recreation or, green space available to them? Or will that be shared by everyone?
They don't have any amenities similar to these improvements that we're showing here, the picnic tables or barbecue or gazebo. There is some green space on the existing mobile home park, but I believe the intention is to have this a shared space for both properties.
And how many how many units are there existing now?
There are 62 on the existing park,
So 62 plus 14.
correct?
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Just to clarify, the question before this board is the zoning change, which would allow this multi-family use basically where it wouldn't otherwise be. So,
It's essentially extending the multifamily zoning that's at the existing portion of the park and allowing it to also apply to this area for 14 more units.
Yes.
It's been a very long process of developing this project. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much. Are there other people here who would like to speak to the project? Anyone in the room who would like to speak about the proposed rezoning to enable the construction of the 14 mobile home park units here? Is there anybody, can we remove I can't see whether anybody online is
There's nobody
on
with their
Zoom.
hand up.
Nobody's got their hands up? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good, yeah, all right. Is there anyone, thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to comment? All right, seeing none, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries 6-0. All right, and so we have before us now, Barb, the resolution.
Yes. The Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie held a duly noticed public hearing today on the 3rd of December at the Town Hall for an application from Manor Hill Mobile Home Park LLC requesting that the zoning for tax parcel number 6162-16-970397 located at 246 North Grand Avenue in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 5.53 acres, be changed from residence single-family R20 to residence mobile home RMH. And whereas the proposed zoning map amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if in fact it had been read verbatim. And whereas the proposed zoning map amendment would allow the applicant to erect manufactured homes on 14 lease lots on this vacant parcel adjacent to their existing mobile home park. The planning board serves as lead agency under SECRA. It's determined that the proposed Manor Hill community project, including the zoning map amendment, will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and that no environmental impact statement will be required as set forth in the SECRA negative declaration for type 1 action dated October 16th, 2025. And the planning board conveyed a positive recommendation to the town board regarding adoption of the proposed zoning map amendment. And a written recommendation dated November 17th was received from Dutchess County Planning, Department of Planning and Development, stating that the adoption of the proposed zoning map amendment is a matter of local concern. And on November 17th, this legal notice of the public hearing was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on November 21st, and now therefore be enacted pursuant to Article 3, Section 210-11 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code, that the zoning designation of tax parcel 6162-16970-397, located at 246 North Grand Avenue in the Town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 5.53 acres, be changed from residence single-family 920 R20 to residence mobile home RMH, and this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Okay, thanks, Councilmember Sapone, seconds. All right, discussion.
It's a very good project, been working on it a very long time. The current owner has upgraded the sewer on the other part, and you guys are doing a great job on your end. And any additional improvements are just gonna make it a better project.
I'm very glad that there's going to be now recreational space and a little bit of extra green space that everyone in that mobile home park can make use of. So, yeah, it makes sense. It's adjacent. We're not spot zoning. We're extending multifamily from another portion of the site. They're just kind of extending it out for 14 more units. Anybody else? Okay. If so, then all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you for your time. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, guys. Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to a duly noted public hearing held on December 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt town code amendments of local law, chapter 199, entitled towing, and be it further resolved that the proposed local law is attached here too.
We might actually need to have the public hearing before we actually read the resolution. I think we can do it either way, but this is the towing law resolution, right? And I think the first thing to do, if you want to move to open the public hearing so we can hear from the public.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries 6-0. Okay, so the public hearing on these proposed changes to the towing law is open for anybody in the room who might like to speak. We'll start with folks in the room and then anybody who online who might like to speak to these changes. This is a considerable, we're using the wrong word, we're streamlining, that's the word I'm looking for. It's been a long day. It streamlines some of the procedures to make this less cumbersome, we hope, and more efficient. Anybody who wants to speak? For sure, absolutely, come forward, welcome. If you don't mind leaning over to the microphone, then the folks who are on Zoom can hear as well. Thanks.
So my name's Ian. I have a collision repair shop in the town of Poughkeepsie in Ward 5. I would like to request if we can postpone finalizing any changes to Chapter 199 until shrinking down the radius of the tow companies that are allowed on the town's towing list can be discussed. And also maybe limit the amount of tow companies that are allowed on the list, make it less than 15, maybe around 9. I believe it's unfair to the businesses of the town. I think the revenue for our businesses it's leaving the town, and I think it's also a safety concern for the town. I don't think it's very safe when out-of-town businesses that need to respond to accidents within the town. Let's say if someone's coming from Wappingers and needs to get to Salt Point, I don't think they can drive safely to get there in the allotted 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm just requesting that maybe we adjourn finalizing anything until we get to talk to our council people. And Ryan, I emailed you about this and I haven't got any responses. I would like to talk to you about it, and it might not be a big deal to you guys, but it's a big deal to me as a business owner in the town. I bought an auto body shop in the town. I live in the town. I contribute to the town. My kids go to school in the town. And I don't think it's fair that we let the outside tow companies come in and take revenue from our town. And that's pretty much it.
Also,
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I just want to say, I worked on the last towing regulations, and per our attorneys, we could not just say it could only be town tow companies on the list. We had to do it by geographic area, within 2 miles, so that put Wappingers and other areas that have
Right.
shops outside the town lines in. We could not restrict it. The villages can do that, towns, we could not. Our lawyers
But-
told us that, so.
Well-
And the
Right.
police department asked for a number, and the number that was chosen was 15 to have on the list because we're such a big municipality.
Right, but
So-
the list originally had, I think it was 12 on it, and 15 really diluted the list down, and also the Hyde Park does, they have a 1/4 mile radius. Theirs is a 1/4 mile, and a lot of the other neighboring towns do not even let companies that are not contributing to those towns get on the list. So how did they all do
I
it?
definitely
So-
understand you, but our lawyers told us we cannot stop commerce from coming in. We'd be sued.
So,
We
right,
have a lawyer, I'll put you on the spot, Emily.
so,
It's okay, I would suggest we just hear all the comments and then we
Yes.
can go back and look into anything. I know there was litigation, and so we would obviously want to, yeah.
and that's not strictly what we're proposing here, but I'm happy to take comments on anything related to the tow law. And we
Right.
can listen to all the public views on that and then go from there, so.
Yeah, I just think it would be very difficult to, if we're making changes now, I would just like to make other changes that would help the businesses of the town.
Ian, we
Okay,
said
thanks.
in 2024, you and I, was there another recent email
Yeah,
this past month?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And then my wife also emailed you about putting a stop sign in our neighborhood, and that was unanswered as well.
A
So
stop
that's-
sign?
That's primarily why I'm here
Okay.
as well.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the room? Thank you. And is there anyone else in the room who'd like to speak about the tow law? Yes, welcome.
My name is Larry Sheehan. I've operated a repair shop and a towing facility here in Poughkeepsie for the past 40 years. Just to give the town board a simple overview, there are 15 tow trucks on the list currently. Of the 15 trucks that are on the list, there's 3 of us. 2 that have a brick and mortar place and 1 that works out of their house in the town of Poughkeepsie. The other 12 tow truck companies are from out of town. Now, Mr. Savone has said, and I remember sitting here in the meetings, that they were not able to do certain things. Questions back then were asked about the legitimacy of the law that everybody holds dear to their heart about Loyal Tire versus Harriman, I think it is. I've asked the town attorney back then to review the law. I never got an answer from him, and I think he's, and I'm not an attorney, I think he's mistaken about how the law is written. What Mr. Savone was saying before, they can't restrict commerce. That would be like saying, Botina, you can't come into the town of Poughkeepsie because you're based outside of Poughkeepsie, or Royal Karting, you're outside of Poughkeepsie, you can't service people in Poughkeepsie because you're based out of Poughkeepsie. I don't think it has anything to do with the actual list. I think the law that everybody is holding their hat or hanging their hat on needs to be revisited. Over the past 3 years that this law has been in effect, we've had some pretty serious concerns about it. Extended wait times, 40, 50 minutes from people like Mr. Damas said, responding from the village of Wabmangers or deep into LaGrange or down south and all the way far down as Adams on Route 9, getting to an accident at North End. Our police department is diluted to begin with, and I think you guys here are looking at to eliminate the inspection portion of it, which will further dilute the police department from going out and looking at our trucks and inspecting it. It is time consuming, but I think you really have to look more closely at the amount of time these officers spend on the roadway waiting for trucks that are from out of town to respond. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna get hurt. We've got 2, sometimes 3 cars on Route 9 waiting for a truck to respond from Wabmangers or LaGrange. 3 of the companies that are on the list are basically run and operated by the same person. And we have another 2 companies that are on the list that are being operated and run by the same person. So we have many companies that are forming LLCs in a ruse to be on the list multiple times. There have been provisions put in the law that was designed there to keep the list from being abused. And those provisions have not been followed by either the town board or the town police. I think the whole list, the whole law has to be looked at more closely. One of the things that I suggested many years ago was if you want people to be on the list, to be dedicated to the town of Poughkeepsie list, make it a requirement that they can be only one list and one list only. They can't be on LaGrange's list. They can't be on Wabmanger's list. They can't be on Hyde Park's list. They can't be on the city of Poughkeepsie list. When that happens, like we had 2 years ago, we had a snowstorm that was very similar to the one we had yesterday, maybe a little worse, where the town police struggled. They were waiting for hours to get trucks out there. Why? Because the town of LaGrange trucks were taking care of LaGrange. The Wabmangers trucks were taking care of Wabmangers. Sooner or later, somebody on the road, police officer or other public motorists are gonna get hurt. So I encourage the town to look at the entire law, look at the things in the law that have been there that have not been enforced, make a concerted effort to let the town of Poughkeepsie Police enforce those provisions. Perhaps, as Mr. Carlos said, the list will work its way out and minimize the people who cannot respond in a reasonable time. Like Mr. Damas said, you can't get a truck from Wabmangers, deep into Wabmangers, to 44, close to the town line or on Route 9 within a reasonable amount of time and have them drive safely. I think the entire list needs to be revisited and the entire list needs to be redone. Like I said, one of the suggestions I had, make it a provision. One list and one list only. If you're on LaGrange, you can't be on Poughkeepsie. Make a decision. So please take a closer look at it. And like Mr. Damas said, I think Ann Shershin, 6 or 8 months ago, when we were talking about the cannabis facilities. She said a lot of, tax revenue. You're right, Ann. But we're looking at the same thing here. A lot of the tax revenue that comes off the town Poughkeepsie police list is going to LaGrange, going to Wappingers. Mr. Dom and I, we pay a tremendous amount of taxes. But you gotta remember, 12 of the other trucks that are on that list are not paying taxes in the town of Poughkeepsie. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who in the room here who would like to speak about the toll law, the proposed toll law revisions? And is there anyone online on Zoom who would like to speak to the proposed toll law revisions? Okay, seeing none, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The closure passes 6-0. So we have the proposed changes in front of us. Does anyone else who would like to speak?
I think the two gentlemen spoke and added quite a few things that we should look at before we vote on this, and maybe it should be redone. I think both gentlemen put forth safety concerns, and that, yeah, there are some revenue problems, and until we get legal to look at it and get an answer, I think we should hold off on voting on this.
My view's a little different. I'm happy to revisit those. I think they're issues we have discussed a couple of different times, but I'm always happy to get a different opinion and make sure that what we're doing in terms of the list itself is, you know, the best we can do for our town residents and for everyone. I feel comfortable going ahead and voting on the changes here because I think they'll be helpful to the town police, and will streamline a lot of processes for us and save some time for our town employees and some money for the town. That does not prevent us from coming back and doing more. But I would hate these changes to get hung up for a long time while we wrestle with things which, as the town attorney said, have been subject to litigation in the past and are complicated. I'd be very happy to take a look at what Hyde Park and other nearby towns are doing, and to make sure that we're in line with that, and that if there's anything else we could do to make this system work better, that'd be great. But I'm comfortable going ahead and making this set of changes and then coming back if we need to.
Could I, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I wanted to point out, as far as there was a comment about the number of companies on the list, the number can be set by resolution. It's not set in stone in the law. It just says it starts at 15. So there's no change to the law needed if you wanted to consider changing the number on the list at any point. As far as the changes to the process, we might want to ask the chief, but I think there's some urgency to that as far as it being the season where they would normally go into the next round of applications. And I think getting this done may be important to the police department. You could ask them about that. And as far as the radius, I can check. I mean, I think we can limit it based on response time, but you know, saying whether someone is in or out of the town, I don't think is something that we can do, and I will check that.
I think thinking about response time and what works best and is most workable for everybody is certainly something we can revisit. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think what was said was impactful here, and I agree with Councilman Safone. You know, I'm a little concerned about one owner owning multiple LLCs. I mean, I think if we don't know that for sure, then we probably shouldn't vote on it tonight. So regarding response time, you know, my question there is, what is it now? And, you know, what do we want it to be? Do we want to have extended periods of response time where people are rushing out of town? I'm not sure that we really want to continue that if that in fact is occurring. And, you know, the other point is that, yeah, I mean, I don't know legally the answer, but if we don't know for sure, again, we shouldn't vote on it because we'd like to give the people in the town who have a brick and mortar location that pay the taxes the first priority. That would be nice. All right, and that would help our response time.
The requirement in here for, I did.
Yeah, so we can either do, I'd be willing to do a couple things. We vote on it and make a friendly, or make an amendment to this, you know, resolution to promise that we would evaluate these things and come back to the public, or wait. I don't see any rush to waiting. and evaluate these things and come back to the public and take a vote.
Did you have something you wanted to add about one of the provisions?
It currently requires a response time of 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Except for overnights, it can be longer.
Okay, I apologize.
It's okay.
So I believe there are members of the public who asked about how we enforce that, as well as the actual nature of the law itself, and those are all issues we can talk
Okay.
about. Is there any other board members who wanted to
Yeah,
speak?
'cause actually, I spoke with Chief this afternoon about this and discussed with him about mechanisms to lower the number of tow truck businesses on our list. So I'm also interested in seeing that the number go down. 15 is a bit unwieldy, and it's not coming around quickly enough to the businesses. So, and if truly, but we can vote on this tonight and the changes tonight, and then go ahead and investigate if there are companies out there that are set up under multiple LLCs.
So it sounds like there are multiple board members that are asking that we revisit those questions that were raised tonight.
Right.
Which we can certainly do and come back. We
But-
can vote on this and then come back and consider those other questions as well.
Yeah, I would say we can vote on it and then just make an amendment to look at these two things, promise to the public that we can do that, and then come back with a report.
Did you want to propose an amendment?
Sure.
I don't think we need to make an amendment of that.
No.
We can just state it, that we are interested in continuing on and further investigating this.
So that's in the public record that board members would like us to revisit.
Okay.
If you'd like to make an amendment, you're welcome to, otherwise we can take that as
So
something we want to
We're gonna
revisit.
promise to come back to the public to
Yep.
investigate, how many companies, that we could potentially lower the companies, and that if there in fact are one owner that owns multiple LLCs that are in, what are we gonna do? Have one owner, one company? Is that what we're looking for?
So I think
Right.
the number on the list, the location of the businesses on the list, the response time, and the following of that policy on response time,
Okay.
and, how we identify individual businesses on the list, and how those are defined are all questions that people raised tonight.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
And then we're gonna look at the legalities of the granting first priority to town, residents who own
Right.
brick and mortar buildings within the town.
Right, I think the town attorney has already said and has said in the past that we can't, in a strict way, simply say you have to be located in the town in order to be on the list. We don't believe that's legal, we can review it again.
You're gonna review it? Okay.
I would request that,
Okay.
a new board, after the first of the year, revisit the whole issue. Primarily, this just makes it a little easier for the police to manage the list. But there are some safety concerns that have been taken out. But, the chief did say that a lot of the inspections and what have you are being done by, so I still think there's a few safety issues in here that we could address, but that's for another board, so I would suggest a new board look at the whole tow list and the towing section entirely, and maybe revisit doing something with the whole list over again.
So we
With the
can promise,
concerns coming
Okay,
tonight.
we can promise to do this, say, by first quarter next year, something like that? That's reasonable?
sure, in the
Okay,
first
sure.
quarter of
Okay.
next year, that's fine.
I'd be willing to vote for that, vote for it if we could look at the changes raised by the public and the questions raised by the public.
Okay,
Sure,
we'll make a
certainly.
note of that and make sure we do that. Figure
Very
out a
good.
mechanism for doing that. I think that really goes to the legal department to give us
Sure.
a little bit of a report.
Yeah.
But we can do some investigation into what nearby municipalities do.
It's certainly not easy, I can tell you, from someone
Yeah.
who's worked on this,
Okay.
it's not easy.
Fair enough.
Mike has a little history of working on
Good
this
luck
in the
with it.
past, just a little bit, right? Okay, good, thank you. Okay, are any other board members who have comments?
My only question is on the response time that you mentioned, like the gentleman said hours at points. I just wanted to be able to see if that was an aberration or whether it's on average 20 minutes as provided in the.
Yeah, we'll have to get information from the police on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then, with that, if there's no further comment, are we ready for a vote? All those in favor? Aye.
I think
Any-
we don't have a second. Mike started to.
Oh, I'm sorry, you gotta read the actual, no,
Well,
that's
he
right.
did, and then he moved it, but then we
I'll
went to.
second.
Thank you.
Okay, All right, so it needs a second from Mr. Reuter. All right, we had our discussion. If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 6-0, and we will, in the first quarter of 2026, return to the related questions that were raised tonight about the tow list. Okay? All right, public hearing number 4. I believe this goes to Mr. Sharp.
Yes, so this has to do with the nuisance, 10 IBM Road, and
Right.
the docks are here. So I so move that we open up for the public hearing.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution carries 6-0. Okay, so then, the floor is open for discussion of, the, proposed, invocation of our nuisance law in order to, shut down due to criminal activity, the, use of this Lucky Spa facility site at 10 IBM Road. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Yes, welcome.
Hi.
We've got some other folks in the back. Yes.
My name is Marissa Geyer. I'm an attorney representing the tenant, the Lux Spa. Just my appearance for the record, Marissa Geyer, Law Office of Marissa Geyer, 10 McMahon Place, Suite 2, Mahopac, New York, 10541. I'd like to begin first by mentioning to the town board for its consideration, which is probably a discussion for another time, after review of the public nuisance law, I think it's pretty clear that the law is unconstitutional. It allows for action to be taken, and pretty grave action, based solely on allegations. So the notice here cites 2 criminal arrests. I will note that the first arrest, the case resulted in a dismissal. The second charge is pending. However, it has not been adjudicated. It's merely an allegation. I think based on the facts and circumstances surrounding the arrest, there is a pretty good question about whether the arrest was lawful. So I would urge the board to hold off on taking any action under the public nuisance law pending the adjudication of the criminal proceeding. Something else is that the person who was arrested is not the owner of the spa. So it was an employee, but it's not the owner of the spa. So even if there was criminal activity happening, it was not at the hands of the owner. I actually have, which I'm happy to share with the board, an employment agreement signed by the tenant, the owner of the spa, and all of their employees, that the employees agree to not engage in any unlawful activity. There's signage posted within the spa that they do not engage in any unlawful activity, and it's not that kind of establishment. So with all the issues of the arrest aside, assuming it was a lawful arrest and assuming the DA's office can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the crime was committed, I still don't think that has any bearing on the owner, given that they had these protections in place. But I certainly would urge the board to hold off on making any sort of decision until the criminal case is adjudicated, because this hearing is based on the arrest itself. So I would urge the board to wait, and then however the criminal case plays out, I think that certainly would play into the town's decision with regard to what action, if any, to take under the public nuisance law.
Ma'am, were you aware that there was also a third arrest prior to the passage of our town nuisance law, and what the result was from that arrest as well?
I'm sorry, say it again?
You're aware that there was a third earlier arrest at the site before we passed new provisions in our town nuisance law?
I mean, I don't think that's really relevant, because we're here tonight under the town nuisance law, right?
From the town's perspective, a pattern of criminal behavior over a long period of time is relevant, I believe. But I believe there's multiple people who can speak to the history of, enforcement at the site. So
And what was the outcome of the first arrest?
I believe there are folks here who may be able to speak to that, but
Okay,
thanks
thank you.
very much. Is there anyone else in the audience who wanted to speak? Yes, welcome.
good evening. I was here during the November meeting to speak regarding 10 IBM Road. I highly encourage and implore the town board to shut this business. This is a house of prostitution. They were open the night of the last arrest with new women in there.
You mean reopened after the arrest?
Yes, the same night. There are men that go in and out of that establishment. There are children in the business next door, and the older ones are aware of this. It is not morally responsible for this business to be open, for this action to be taking place in a business that's next door to where children are. If it doesn't get shuttered, it'll just keep going on. I have pictures of men entering the establishment. I can sit there for an hour. I've seen men pull up in cars. I've seen men go in for a half an hour, come out. I've seen men walk down from Route 9. They park their cars in adjacent lots and walk to the business. This type of activity should be stopped immediately, and it should not be allowed to continue, because if it just continues, the behavior, what's going on, is going to be, the can is going to be kicked down the road. And I just hope that it ends tonight, tomorrow. I was really hoping that the property owner would have taken action after the last meeting. That was not the case. The business has been open for the last month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here in the room who would like to speak? Yes, welcome.
Good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Margaret Buckland. I am also a taxpayer of the town of Poughkeepsie. I am here to speak in regards to the nuisance law, chapter 144, that is being proposed for 10 IBM Road. I also implore the town board to vote against this business remaining open. I have a 16-year-old daughter who receives dance instruction at the business directly next door 4 to 5 times a week. Any given Friday evening she is taking dance instruction, I can sit in that parking lot and count the number of men that walk in and out of that establishment. There are men that don't even turn their car off to go in and get the services that they are looking for. There are women that come to the door that are dressed in inappropriate clothing. My child, nor any other child that is receiving dance instruction at the business directly next door should be exposed to anything of this nature. It is not only a concern for the town, but it is a concern for that direct area. There is illegal operations happening there. There are many people that have witnessed it, and I implore you to vote to close this business down in order to keep the children that attend dance instruction within that vicinity safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Of the board. Kevin Galliano. I am here. I'm attorney on behalf of the property owner, North Plank Development Company, LLC. And I just would like to point out that North Plank acquired this property in June of 2025. I believe the first notice was sent to the prior owner. The second notice was sent to the current owner. He received that notice, I believe, on November 20th. He sent me the notice for review. I recommended to him that he should immediately begin eviction proceedings, which we have done. We have served the tenant a notice of termination and demand to vacate, which has been personally delivered on them. It was dated November 25th, 2025. We have a petition drafted, which will be served. We're due to appear in court on December 17th in the town of Poughkeepsie, and we are making full efforts to evict the tenant based on these allegations. We will put forth our best efforts to prove the case by clear and convincing evidence in order to evict the tenant. Beyond that, I just would like to point out to the town that they do have authority under RPAPL Section 715, where they can demand the landlord to commence an eviction proceeding if they fail to do so within 5 days. The municipality themselves can stand in the place of the landlord and commence an eviction proceeding and impose civil penalties up to, I believe, $5,000. I just wanted to point that out because that could be a mechanism that may be in between. Obviously, you have the nuisance law, but it may be a useful mechanism to put forward the spirit of the law.
If I could ask a question, though, you have already
We have.
yourselves commenced eviction proceedings.
Correct.
And you have a court date of December 17th.
December 17th.
That's helpful to know, thank you.
Yes, so with that said, from the owner's perspective, being that nuisance law, the local nuisance law carries, it has teeth and it does authorize the town to board up the entire premises. I think any enforcement action should be limited to this suite alone and should be stayed to allow the landlord to attempt the eviction, which they're doing in good faith, and I think furthers, the mission of the town board and the spirit of the nuisance law.
Thank you. Just to clarify, I do believe that the resolution we have before us contemplates vacating and physically boarding up only that portion of the property that is being occupied by the Lucky Spa, not other portions of the property, not other tenants nearby, so.
Understood. I just want to set forth the property owner's position that we'd like to work with the town. He's fully available. He spoke to the building inspector immediately, and we would just ask that we work in a spirit of cooperation and not, boarding up. I think, obviously, given the nature of the allegations, it's serious. But we're due in court on December 17th, so would just like to ask the opportunity to evict the tenant if we can, and then from there, consider any enforcement action pursuant to the nuisance law.
Thank you very much.
Could I just ask a bit of clarification from the attorney? You would like us to work with you so that that facility is not boarded up for 3 months and the property owner is losing the rent on it?
Well, he'd like to get it rented to a new tenant.
And if we board it up, then he loses 2.5 to 3 months of rent?
From the current tenant, is that the question,
Well,
or
no,
just in
just
general?
in
Just in
general,
general,
in
I
general.
think a boarded up suite in a nice building in the town isn't the ideal scenario, especially when we're talking 2 weeks' time. It could open up other legal issues. Beyond that, I think 2 weeks' time is, I think, less than, 2 weeks now is expedient enough to give us a chance to do our part as the property owner and landlord. And that's why we're asking to stay any enforcement of the nuisance law until we can at least attempt an eviction.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thanks very much.
Sorry. So yours is it akin to a notice to quit, conduct that is in violation of the lease? Is that what?
Right.
Okay.
RPAPL 711 doesn't require predicate notice, so we did give the notice anyway, but, so the notice was served, and now the notice of petition is in the process of being served for the court date on the 17th.
So the tenant would have the same defenses, pretty much, that the lady before raised, that it's an employee, not the landlord who is, in essence.
Well, yeah, any respondent has any defenses available to them under the law, so we do have to prove a case by clear and convincing evidence. We're going to put forth the notice from the town, and we'll have the landlord there to testify if it goes to trial. And there's also the option of working with the tenant to have them move voluntarily. So we're going to explore all avenues to get the situation resolved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that report. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak? I also spoke with Chief Cavalier this afternoon and was hoping that someone could review the arrest record at the site. But want to make sure that we've heard from the members of the public first, if there's anyone else who wanted to speak. Seeing none, would you mind sharing the arrest record at the site? Thank you.
This location has been a problem all the way back from February of 2024. I believe pretty much when it first opened, we became aware of it. If you go to the website or you go to any of these Massage for Men websites, you can easily locate it. You can see it's not a legitimate business. Just because of manpower and staffing issue is taking us, these sting operations are difficult to conduct. But the first one we conducted back in October 16th of 2024. And at that time, we only found one person in there that was found to be committing prostitution and unauthorized practice of a profession, not licensed to have a massage. We then pushed, we tried to work with that landlord who said he was going to evict them and get them out, and he did nothing. Sounds like he sold the building, or sold the building, which I believe he did. I didn't hear it directly, but I was told from Mr. Flowers that the new owner did admit that he was aware of this prior arrest. Then the second time, we worked with the town board to come up with the nuisance law, and we did another sting operation in May 15th of 2025. And the current owner was aware of this when he bought the property. And at that time, there was two people inside, none of which were the owners. I'll give them that, but at that time also charged with prostitution and unauthorized practice of a profession. Then we went again, still getting numerous complaints from the public, and to be able to complete the nuisance code, we completed another sting operation on October 16th, 2025. And at that time, again, we found there was only two women in the business, and the one woman was found to do prostitution and unauthorized practice of a profession. There was, I don't want to get into our practices, but there are recordings of it. I don't know what the attorney was talking about dismissed. I'm not familiar, and I did not research what the outcome of the cases are. I'm curious if it was an adjournment contemplation of a dismissal, which is basically the defendant is told, don't get in trouble for 6 months and we'll dismiss it. The DA's office often offers those kind of plea deals consistently to people to move the calendar along, and especially in cases like this, where these workers are probably also victims of being trafficked.
Yes.
So I don't like that mischaracterization that it was just dismissed without knowing all the facts. I don't know what the outcome of the two current cases. I'm confident in my officers. It was a joint operation between the town of Poughkeepsie, the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, the New York State Police, and the FBI.
Thank you very much, Chief. Is there any further comment? If none, then I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And we have before us the resolution. I want to point out just that the final, next to final, be it further resolved clause directs the building inspector to discontinue the closure after less than 3 months if he determines in his discretion that the nuisance has been abated. So this is structured to board up the building, stop the nuisance, which has been ongoing for over a year, and board up the building for 3 months. But if there's evidence that eviction has taken place, and that the nuisance is abated, that is that the tenant will not be back, that there is room to unboard the building and make it available for lease to a new tenant as soon as we discover that that's happened. Our goal is not obviously in the long run to keep that building boarded up or to prevent the new owner from renting it, but to abate the current criminal activity that's happening there. Is there anybody else on the board who would like to speak?
Well, even if we move ahead with this, it's kind of in the building inspector's ballpark that we could wait till after the result of the 17th, that if they are able to successfully evict these people, we don't even need to board up the building. We can kind of wait and see what happens in the next 2 weeks, because it's literally 2 weeks.
I wouldn't want to wait. This is
Not the way it's worded.
I would not read it that way myself either. I think that what we're asking for is action in the near term.
Okay.
But we could certainly consult on what the timing of that will be. Anybody else?
I'd just like to clarify with our attorney, put you on the spot again.
Sure.
So our Article 3 public nuisance law, it articulates continuous criminal activity, as an, element, I would say, to be able to take action. It does not, and this is a question, it does not evaluate criminal conviction as an element. Is that correct?
It's based on arrests.
It's based on arrest, right? Right. So the previous discussion was wait until the criminal conviction. That really doesn't, it's not applicable to the law.
Correct.
Right, because our law articulates continuous activity or arrest activity, criminal activity.
Correct. And if
Okay.
you'd like to talk about, things that we should discuss.
No, I'm
offline,
just,
we
I'm
can-
just
Okay,
asking
sure,
as,
yeah.
an element of enforcement.
Right.
It does not articulate conviction as one of them.
Right. And
Okay, great.
as always, we can go into executive session. If anybody ever wants to do that, just let me know, right? We can go talk further about it.
I want to see what's
But
in our
yes,
law.
the law itself is based on repeated arrests for specific types of criminal activity,
Right.
not on conviction.
And
Gotcha.
it's very much like other such laws
Gotcha.
in other
Just wanted to
jurisdictions.
clarify.
Right.
Thank you.
Nice clarification, Bill.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
I would just add that there is a rather extraordinary body of online evidence of ongoing activity that would make it difficult to argue that an individual employee in this business was surreptitiously engaging in sex work with no one else being aware. Because apparently the entire Hudson Valley is aware. So I think it's extremely hard to argue that this would have been an employee. Under what conditions an employee would sign such a waiver, that's another question that I wouldn't be able to answer. But certainly I don't think we use the term notorious in the statute, but clearly this is a site that broadcasts activities widely. I would also say that there's a discrepancy in the initial application made to the zoning department. The tenant actually asked for a facility to do nails. So what's on file in the town is for a nail salon. We certainly do grant applications for massage therapy, but that was not what was requested, so we have a discrepancy there as well. It's certainly not to the level, that's not particularly relevant to the criminal activity that's taking place there, but it is another discrepancy. Anybody else? Ready?
All right, so be it
Okay.
resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a duly noticed public hearing held December 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, does hereby determine that the property located at 10 IBM Road, Town of Poughkeepsie, County of Dutchess, State of New York, bearing grid number 6060-04997170, known as Lucky Spa, is in violation of Town Code Chapter 144, Article 3, Public Nuisances. The legal notice of public hearing was posted on November 17th, published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on November 21st, 2025, and notification was mailed to the owner by certified mail return receipt requested on November 17th, 2025. Due to continuous criminal activity, the town board declares that the use of the Lucky Spa facility at 10 IBM Road constitutes an immediate and substantial threat to the safety and well-being of the occupants of the building or structure in question and of other occupants of the surrounding vicinity. The building inspector is directed to see that the Lucky Spa facility at 10 IBM Road be vacated and physically boarded up and secured from further occupancy as soon as possible to keep the space secured for a period of up to 3 months. The building inspector is directed to post a sign upon all exterior doors of such building or structure declaring with bold lettering that the occupancy thereof is prohibited until further order of the building inspector. The building inspector is authorized to discontinue the closure after less than 3 months if he determines in his discretion that the nuisance has been abated, that the cost of the town of the actions authorized herein shall be assessed to the subject properties pursuant to Town Code, Section 144-19D. So moved.
Second.
Could I just point out that the code allows for up to a year of closure, and so the 3 months was based on the intention of the landlord to try to address the problem. If the board thinks a different time period is appropriate, that's up to you to decide.
So it can be up to a year.
Correct.
I just wanted to say in the the bottom of page 1, that when it says directed to post a sign upon all exterior doors of such building or structure, that we're again speaking of the portion of the structure that was occupied by the Lucky Spa, not all the other doors of other tenants. This is specific to that portion of the site only. Yeah.
Down there, there should be Ben, not B, on the second page.
Has been, yep, on the second page, on the third line, it should say the nuisance has been abated. So, okay, anything further? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution carries 6-0. I would like to also just say thank you to the new owner for, coming and being cooperative, and we hope to, work with you to abate the nuisance. Perhaps this isn't the way you wanted to go about it, but we will try to stay in touch, and hopefully that your court action will be successful, and we'll be able to partner then to move forward. We don't want businesses in the town to be boarded up any more than necessary, but we have a situation we have to address, and we hope to work with you in the future, so thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. Whew, okay, that's 4 public hearings. We can now suspend the rules for the 3, for up to people to speak for up to 3 minutes on the other items that are on the agenda tonight. We have agendas out in the hallway for anyone who didn't get one, and those folks who are on Zoom, the Zoom link is on the agenda sheet, so you should have the agenda. So is there, I move to suspend the rules for public comment on any item on the agenda tonight. Is there a second?
Oh, second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. The floor is open for people to speak on any item on the agenda, other item on the agenda tonight after the public hearings. Anybody in the room who would like to speak?
Steve?
Steve, yes, welcome.
You gotta get your
And
hand
Will
higher.
be next, yep. Okay. Welcome.
Looks like somebody left their glasses.
Oh,
So,
we'll leave them right there.
yeah. So just on the, on number 7, the town assessor, new town assessor, there was no names given, anything. Usually that's there. Is there a candidate or,
Yes, there is.
I guess why wasn't
Well,
it?
sometimes people have to, inform their prior employer or make arrangements or whatever before we make the appointment. So, sometimes we need to make,
I just find it unusual to not to do that.
I think it has happened in the past. I would have to go back and look, but.
Not that, all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Will. Welcome.
Evening, everyone. My name is Will Viavati. I'm with the TV series Best Medicine. I'm just here to talk about the proposed footprint for this Monday. I have some hard copies of some maps, if I can just pass that.
Want to share those with us? Thank you very much.
Take one for Mike as well. Thank you, thank you.
All right, so, this Monday, our planned footprint is a little different than usual. We already have a regular spot for our work trucks, but for this particular day, we're gonna be filming at 12 River Road, New Hamburg. And for that reason, we were hoping to park our work trucks a little closer, make our workday a little easier. So I have highlighted in blue on the map kind of a section of parking along River Road that's already 2-hour parking. And then along Railroad Avenue, there is normally not parking on that side, but I did have a sit down with the town of Poughkeepsie Police Department to advise on what would be a good and safe plan on how to park work trucks and to have traffic flow that would not be of great impact to the public. And the plan seems to be, we book 2 officers, we don't do any traffic stoppage. Instead, we use a single lane road, and the officers just help us keep things pretty slow, keep things pretty safe, and we will use a cone wall and just have a single lane, one direction road so that people can still access the train station and then loop around.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and thanks for the map. That's very helpful.
Thanks.
Okay? 3 officers. I don't have my glasses on. I couldn't see how many fingers, but 3 officers. Okay, good. All right. Okay, is there anyone else in the room who wanted to speak? And is there anyone online? Doreen, welcome. Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you. I also have a question about number 7, about the assessor. I see that it's $108,000, 3 weeks vacation. Doesn't say anything about hours. Is there a set number of hours for that?
It's a full-time managerial position, so it's 40 hours a week. I mean, it's a full-time position,
Okay, it's full-time, and
but it's not hourly.
Okay, are there benefits associated with that?
Yes, it would be the standard package.
Okay,
You know,
so it says,
healthcare benefits that are offered to it's a non-union position.
okay, since it said 3 weeks vacation, it wasn't clear that there were also benefits. Speaking about SC1, the filming in New Hamburg, under the conditions of filming, there's typos in there because it says all filming is to take place on December 8th, 2028. So it says that in 2 separate areas under the conditions. So that needs to be changed.
Oh, that's on on the 3rd page. Thank you. Yes, it should say 25, not.
Right.
We really don't want to
and-
be making decisions for 2028, so.
I would think not. And then the other part is that actually number 12 River Road? Because on parcel access, number 12 River Road doesn't show up. So I was just wondering if that was the accurate address.
The 911 address.
And,
That's the 911 address, Doreen, is what Chief Cavalier is saying.
It took me a minute to find it, but I got there.
Parcel access is very weird sometimes, and it doesn't always show numbers, or it shows, but the emergency 911 address there is 12 River Road.
okay, and then the
I
only
believe it's
other
part
thing
of the White's Marina property.
Okay, and in one place it refers to activities, it says can't commence any earlier than 9 a.m., but in other sections it says 10 a.m. to 3, so I'm not sure if there's, if it should be 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock.
I think
All right, that's it. Thank you.
activity would be preparation for filming, and filming would begin at 10, I believe. There's an hour space in there, but maybe we can come back to that if there's a question when we discuss the law.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else online who wanted to speak to any items on the agenda? All right, seeing none, I move to return to regular session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 6-0, and so we move to the regular session. I believe, Ann?
Yes. Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Kelly Tremblay, receiver of taxes for the town of Poughkeepsie, effective December 15th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
Okay, and you appreciate Kelly's service. I believe that she's using some vacation time and her last day in the office was today, and wish her the very best on her retirement.
I'm sorry,
How many years does she work for the town?
she started in 2013. She was my deputy, town clerk for, I think,
So 12
8
then.
years, so,
Quite some time.
Yeah. All right.
yep, gonna miss her.
Many thanks and best wishes to her. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution carries 6-0. Bill?
I think it's you.
Oh, sorry, it's me. My apologies. Be it resolved that the town board does hereby appoint Norma Catalina Mahoney to the position of part-time clerk with the Town of Poughkeepsie Justice Court at grade 4, step 1, salary of $21.83 per hour, effective December 4th, 2025, which appointment shall be subject to a probationary period as described for the rules for the classified civil service of Dutchess County and effect as of the date of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Okay. All right, this is a replacement position in the Justice Court. And, any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-1.
Okay.
Now
Just, thank you, just a quick question. Would you like me to read the employee's name in public, or you want me to leave it?
Yes, we do,
Okay,
we
fine.
do.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Maureen Gill Martin to the 6-year term position of Assessor through September 30th, 2031, to fill a vacant unexpired term effective January 2nd, 2026, at the salary of $108,000 and 3 weeks vacation. And be it further resolved, Town Supervisor or her designee are authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
All right. I know a number of board members had an opportunity to meet with Ms. Gold Martin. We're really excited to have her with us and welcome her on January 2nd.
And she came to our meeting.
And she came to the meeting. She may never come to another one. She had to wait a long time, but thanks for being here.
How do you spell the last name?
Gilmartin.
Perfect.
There we go. Maureen. So welcome, Maureen. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-0. Okay.
You guys can go celebrate now.
Now you can go. That's great. Thanks for being here.
Resolution number 8, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie has authorized the submission of a community development block grant application for certain Sheaf Road Park improvements. And on September 29th, 2021, the Town Board authorized an execution of an agreement with the County of Dutchess to accept a $95,000 grant for said work. And whereas after advertisement for an opening of bids, the town entered into a contract with Pettinelli Recreation dated September 26th. Why do I get the long one? For a fixed price of $242,183, thank you, Bill, to complete the Sheaf Road Park improvements. And having received a payment hold notice from the New York State Department of Labor as to a portion of the contracted amount, and learning of other substantial performance failures, this board authorized the transmission of a notice of breach of contract to Pettinelli. The County of Dutchess has extended the town's $95,000 CDBG grant until January 31st, 2026, conditioned on payment by the town of the contract balances due and owing and the receipt by the county of specific project and grant closeout documentation. The Department of Labor's payment hold has been lifted, and it appears possible that payment of all claims arising from this project and the receipt of the grant funds may be possible. So the town supervisor, after consultant with the attorney for the town comptroller, and other involved town departments, is authorized to make full payment to all entitled claimants up to the total contract sum of $242,183, after receiving from Pettinelli and all suppliers, subcontractors, and claimants the required releases, waivers of liens, and other documents needed to protect the town's interest and to receive the county grant funds. So moved.
Second. Okay, this has taken some effort. We want to make sure we bring the grant money in the door, but we need to make sure that we have all the documents filed. And I want to thank Emily Svensson and Jim Nelson and a number of people, Jim Nelson mostly, who has done a tremendous amount of work on this to try to make sure we're paying prevailing wage and the contractors and everybody's doing what they need to do. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-0.
Okay, number 9, be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby award the contract for the Police Department Interior Cleaning Service to the lowest responsible bidder, cleaning services of the Hudson Valley, at the bid price of $5,200 per month, $62,400 per year, for 2 years commencing December 17, 2025, on the condition that CSHV produces records of prevailing wage payments as requested by the attorney to the town. Be it further resolved that if CSHV fails to provide such records, the town supervisor is authorized to reject CSHV's bid and execute a contract instead the next lowest bidder who complied with the bid requirements, Jan Pro Development of Hudson Valley, at the bid price of $14,750 per month. And be it further resolved that this award is subject to the contractor producing all required bonds and proof of coverages and promptly executing a contract on terms acceptable to the supervisor, which is consistent with the bid package documents after consultation with the chief of police and the attorney to the town. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If we have all the requisite documentation we need, we can go ahead and hire. All right, continue the contract. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution carries 6-0. Okay,
Resolution.
now, resolution 10.
10A? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby award the contract for the Spackenkill Sanitary Sewer Pump Station Replacement General Construction bid to TAM Enterprises at the bid price of $7.2 million pursuant to the recommendation of the Engineering Department, that the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract with TAM Enterprises on receipt of all required documentation, including bonds and proofs of insurance coverage. So moved.
Second. Okay, there's been a long process of bidding and determining who to award. This is the first of 3. Any questions? This is the long delayed project that really needs to
Just
go
a
forward.
comment.
So
Yep.
excited
Just
this
a
is
comment.
coming.
I remember the public coming up here and complaining about the smell, and I had never experienced it until this summer or this fall. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I feel so bad, and I am so happy it's gonna get fixed.
I do want to thank Jim Bynan, who's here, who's the head of the sewer department, who's worked very, very hard to mitigate smell with some work over the last couple of months, and we got rave reviews for that. But the long-term solution is to this new, very complicated pump, but we're ready to go. The pump station. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-0. All right, 10B.
Yes, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby award the contract for Spackenkill Sanitary Sewer Pump Station Replacement HVAC construction bid to DJ Heating and Air Conditioning at the bid price of $233,000 pursuant to the recommendation of the Engineering Department. And be further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute this contract with JG Heating and Air Conditioning on receipt of all required documentation, including bonds and proof of insurance coverage. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-0. 10C. Be it resolved that the town board does hereby award the contract for the Spackenkill Sanitary Sewer Pump Station Replacement Plumbing Construction bid to Clean Air Quality Services Incorporated at the bid price of $147,400 pursuant to the recommendation of the Engineering Department. And be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract with Clean Air Quality Services on receipt of all required documentation, including bonds and proofs of insurance coverage. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I only wanted to mention that I was talking to Jim on the way in, and he said too that we're actually gonna come in under budget on these. Once we get the electrical bid in, that it's actually coming in. So less than what we were planning for, so this is a really good thing.
So far, the bids are coming in under budget, which is great.
And you'll have
Awesome.
the electrical for the next meeting.
The electrical's
That's the
coming
last
along
one.
next,
Yeah.
yep, so we can get all the parts done. Wonderful, okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 6-0, off we go. All right.
Number 11 is just, I have one event, it's the Ugly Sweater Run. It's a 5K run at the shops at South Hills Mall by Fleet Feet, and that is going to be on December 7th at 9 a.m. That is it.
How far is it? Do you have to
It's a
run in an ugly
5K.
sweater? 5K, okay, all right, great.
125 Ugly Sweater.
All right, fabulous. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we should move on to special consent.
Number 12.
Oh, yeah, that is, the number 12 is, I think, the special consent. I'll just go ahead and do that one. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following item, which is to authorize treehouse filming and partial closure of River Road and Railroad Avenue in New Hamburg. So moved.
Second.
Okay, then this is on the table. Now, we've got to vote to consider it, right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution carries 6-0. And now we move on to the actual dock in a box, resolution, SC1. Bill?
Okay. Dock in the Box Corporation, a filming production company, has entered into contracts with private landowners and with public entity in the town of Poughkeepsie, New Hamburg, the New Hamburg Volunteer Fire Department, for use of property they own in the Hamlet of New Hamburg in order to film the television series Best Medicine at intervals between August and December 2025 for approximately total 50 weekdays over a 5-month period. In light of the above, the town and applicant have signed a letter of agreement with respect to production's public impact, insurance, deposit requirements, limitation of days, hours, and filming compensation, any damage or burdens on town resources, and other matters pursuant to Resolution 729-1 of 2025 on July 29, 2025. Whereas applicant now wishes to augment its permitted activities filming at the Treehouse, it proposes to construct the 12 River Road on December 8th, 2025, collectively Treehouse Filming. And whereas Treehouse Filming will require the suspension of certain parking regulations on River Road and Railroad Avenue pursuant to section 174-38 of the town code. Chief of Police has been consulted and his recommendations have been incorporated. Now therefore, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie authorizes applicant to undertake the Treehouse Filming from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on December 8th, 2025. Further authorizes the town supervisors to sign a second letter of agreement with the applicant. And be it further resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie hereby authorizes the partial closure of River Road and Railroad Avenue in New Hamburg on December 8th under the direction of the chief of police. And that the town board of town of Poughkeepsie hereby suspends application of town code sections 195-17, 195-20, and 195-23 relating to parking on River Road and Railroad Avenue to permit vehicles designated by the applicant as necessary for Treehouse Filming to park in the areas designated on the filming and parking location plan during December 8th, 2025. So moved.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I think that Doreen did look at a small discrepancy here, and I believe that in the conditions, it should say 10 a.m. I think that's correct. We're trying to do this not during rush hour, when people are coming in and out of the train station in large numbers. So it says 9 a.m. on the third page, and at the last, number 5, and it should say 10 a.m. So I think it's from 10 a.m. to 3 is when filming activities are allowed. And then they're gonna take everything down and put it back the way it was. And it's on private property, we're just addressing the parking concerns. This is the day when they were already filming, they're filming at New Hamburg Yacht Club as well, so we're simply adding a second site. And they say that next Wednesday is the last day. I just talked to Will, so.
Will left, but, I see under the conditions that as soon as we pass this resolution, they can start construction on the treehouse tomorrow, right?
That's correct. They do not need parking changes for the construction, and it's on private property, but only for the day of the actual filming. Okay?
You know, I think it's a low volume area. I think I like the 10 o'clock as well. That's great. Just a question for the chief. Chief, you saw this there, right on, River Road, the buffer towards the Hudson.
And Will is still outside.
That's substantial
actually.
enough to be able to park, in your opinion? I don't exactly recall the buffer, but it seems like there was, there's sometimes some, flooding. but you're comfortable with the fact that there's trucks would able to park on that
That's why we're gonna,
south side of Route
we're gonna, it's gonna go down to one lane, and the officers will be on either end.
Okay,
Having the traffic
gonna
flow.
kinda
Usually people only loop around that road anyway.
yeah,
So
it's
we'll
not,
make sure the few houses that need access, that they'll get access, and then we'll be alternating whatever traffic's coming through onto one lane, so that there's plenty, we're gonna have cones and barricades up alongside all their cars, and have it just one lane.
okay, I got you. Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, good.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 6-0. Okay, that was our last special consent. What I'd like to suggest that we do is that I'm going to give a brief update on the police courts facility plan, and then we will open for 3 minutes of discussion for anybody who wants to speak about anything, and then the board needs to go into executive session to discuss a couple of items, but we'll do our 3 minutes first. So I'm going to try to share this. Let's see how it works. I don't have a whole lot of images, but I have some. Let me see if I can find the right spot. All right, is that, yeah, there we go, okay. I can't make it scroll, but I can show you the pictures that I brought here. All right, so I wanted to just give a brief update on where we are now. This is a kind of high-level view, beginning with, wait a minute, I'm getting ready to get myself off of Zoom. Here we go. All right, we all know that there's an urgent need to relocate from the current site on Tucker Drive, which was purchased for $6.95 million by the town in 1996, and is in a converted warehouse on an uncapped landfill. I would just say that that the warping and sinking issues were identified publicly as early as 1999, and that we've had frequent costly fixes to the roof and the parking lot and various other parts of the building, including from repeated settling, a fire in the locker room due to a burst pipe. We did use ARPA funds last year to do a study to ensure that the building is structurally sound, and we have done repeated air quality tests to make sure that that there are no air quality issues. But needless to say, the parking lot is like a roller coaster. There's a funhouse hallway where the floor is tilted to one side. The police need to move, and courts as well need to move. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. It's not sharing the right. It's a llama, but I can't find my, hold on a second.
You might be sharing your whole screen instead of
I
just
am,
the
I was
window.
trying to share here it is, again. I'm gonna open it again and see if I can share, no, okay, I'm gonna carefully share my whole screen because it's not letting me share the actual document itself. I'm gonna try to stay in the document. Tried to work on this earlier, not very successfully. Okay, all right, there we go. All right, so we have been working with Labella for a while. We spent a long time searching for other appropriate sites, and we spent considerable time in 2024 looking for a building at the IBM campus, and ultimately rejected it for reasons of location and poor access and ability to get out clearly to the road, issues with Route 9, and with call patterns being this area of town being a better location, also issues of size and cost. It's an immense building down there. And there were a lot of complications, including the need to get that building off of the water, the sewer, the HVAC, move gates on the IBM property. So there were a number of reasons. And we then looked at a number of other properties suggested by other board members and members of the public, and rejected them for poor location, size, too small, unbuildable. We found sites with no sewer access and with environmental contamination and other things as well. So we commissioned Labella to look at 1 Overrocker Road, and we had done a condition survey of the current building and test pits. There's a lot of rock on this site, so one of the things we needed to figure out is how we can, where we can and can't build. Went through a number of different drawings. There is a draft feasibility report. The final version will be out shortly, and I'll talk about that in a second. But essentially, this is the proposal. It's to take the building that we're in, which is the light blue, and renovate that 2-story building, and build beside it, right behind where Chief is sitting right now, on that side of the building, a 3-story building that will go beside it. It'll be about 14 feet higher than the top of this building. The first 2 floors will be the same as this building. Third floor would be 14 feet higher. And then, as you can see on the earlier piece here, regrade the parking lot between here and the Elks, and use that parking lot over here, that expanded parking lot for court parking, for public parking during court times. There would be a retaining wall here from the lower corner of the 3-story building across to the stormwater retaining area over near Overrocker Road, and the parking going into what's now the lower side of Town Hall would be secure parking. The police vehicles would be there. The officers' personal vehicles would go there when shifts come in and out. That's where that area would be. There'd be a fence around that area to secure it. And at the top of what's on the darker blue here, the new building, on the bottom floor is where the sally ports would be and where the SWAT vehicle would be, where there would be easy access to get out to a new access road to Burnett Boulevard that would go here. One of the great difficulties we finding a good site for the police and courts is the need for multiple entries and exits, for public entry and exit for the court, for secure exit and entry, and also for rapid access. And Burnett Boulevard, being able to get out to 44 and 55 quickly is possible on this site. Some other reasons that this works well is that this is a 2-level building, and that doesn't work terribly well for Town Hall, as we've often discussed, because people who are looking for the assessor are often wandering around on the top floor, and people who are looking for the clerk are often wandering downstairs, and nobody on one side of the building sees the other half because we park on opposite sides. But if you're seeking to create a secure side of the building and a public side of the building, the slope here in this building, the 2-floor structure seems to work pretty well. Needless to say, this whole plan depends on a memorandum of understanding with the Elks, which we have been undertaking over the last few weeks, and that's why we've had some delay. But Emily Svensson joined me in meeting with the Exalted Ruler and the other leaders of the Elks next door. They were very friendly, and we are working on a binding MOU. We don't want to spend money on design of this building until we're sure that we have the outlines for a 99-year lease and an option that if the Elks ever sold that site, the town would get first option to purchase this area. It's basically about 0.8 acre that we would need to lease from them to make the upper level parking lot large enough that would cover all the needs for public parking when the court's in session. Needless to say, the Elks would get a nicely regraded and recovered parking lot with lighting and drainage and so forth that they could use on weekends. Their usage is usually evenings and weekends, so it works pretty well with the need for the public court use. The other issue is that, if you can see here, there's a little tiny white dot down here. That's where the cell tower is right now. So we will need to work with the owners of the cell tower to take that down, because it would be right in where the front door is going to be of the courts, and potentially propose to do something on the top of the building for cell access if they need it. They are shifting to 5G. They've already approached us and said that their needs are changing as the whole situation is changing with cell towers. And so I think our lease with them runs out in 2 years, I think. In the meantime, I think they're open to discussing other options. So that after we settle things with the Elks, that would be our next step, is to make sure that we don't have an issue with the cell phone tower. There are several advantages to that, including a location. We will not need to move presuming we move forward with this, we will not need to move the impound lot, and we will not need to move the auto center, because they're not very far away. The auto center predominantly serves the police vehicles, and they need to be nearby. If we put the police station and court's way down somewhere on Route 9, then we either have to move everything or there's a lot of going back and forth. The big question we wanted to answer was whether police and courts can both fit on this site. There was a very, very strong desire to keep police and courts together. And so we've been working over the last 6 months to make sure that we can do that. And I think this plan does it. In the new darker blue building, the court would occupy the whole 3rd floor. And there might be some court functions on the 2nd floor, possibly break room or clean, building cleaning areas or whatever. But most of the court would fit on the 3rd floor, and then everything else will be police. I think I covered all of these. Right. So the last piece, and obviously it makes use of a building that's already currently owned by the town. The last thing I would say is that we did ask Labella to estimate for us what costs would go into this building if town hall stayed here. And we could wait a while, but within a decade or so, this building already needs a new roof. It needs all new windows. It needs a new HVAC system. It essentially needs a gut renovation. So if town hall stayed here, we would still need to move out and do a lot of renovating here. So this is an opportunity to completely reconsider redesign the building for a new and different use. So that's where we are right now. I think I already said this, but Labella estimated that that's about $8 million worth of work in today's dollars. So we know that that's work we would need to do anyway, and we can kind of fold into this plan. This building right now is also not disabled accessible. You can't get on the lower floor at all. The upper floor, it's a little, there is a handicap ramp, but it's not great. So there's a lot of ways in which just completely redoing this building for a new purpose is great. Is I think a great choice. Needless to say, town hall needs to move. So the next thing we have to do is spend we've already been in process of thinking about where town hall can go in a way that works very well for town hall and is timely, so that we're not spending years deliberating on where town hall is going to go in order to, in a way that will delay this project. We also, needless to say, this is not going to be cheap, and we've all known that that's the case for a long time. And right now, recommendations are that we pursue the least expensive design option offered by Labella. When we get to the final feasibility study with the final numbers and the final sign off with the feasibility from the Elks and so forth, we'll see that there have been 5 or 6 different options, and we ended up looking at 3. And of those 3, we chose what is the least expensive by clearly quite a bit. It's also really the most, I think, elegant and simple. It works best. I forgot to say that there's a little white house over here, and that would need to go because this is going to be part of parking here. But the rest of the site, it would make use a lot of what's already here. In addition to choosing that, we will spend next year, the design phase would take about 8 months. If we can begin that, we probably need to bond before we start that design phase, but if we can plan that 2026 is the year when we do the design, then that will be an opportunity to continue to try to make this as efficient as a plan as we can. I'd like to aggressively seek grants concurrent with that design work. We know that we are eligible for one state grant because the state will give you money for getting your police station out of a floodplain, which this project does. We're already eligible. So and we are researching a number of other grants on grounds of energy and energy efficiency and other first responder support and other types of grants that we can look for within the time frame that we need to work with. And then, needless to say, we need to price this out. We need to understand what the cost is going to be over a long period of time as we bond it, and then continue to look for new revenue sources to offset the burden on property taxpayers, since obviously this is bonded over a long period of time. I think this is the best plan. I look forward to sharing publicly the final feasibility study within the next few weeks. I hope by January to have a timeline that includes town hall moving and where how the pieces are going to fit together, and hopefully to go forward with both pieces together, because we don't want to, you know, we need to. It is possible that construction of the new portion would be possible before town hall moves out. But I talked with Bruce Flower and Mike Welty about it this afternoon, and they think that that's gonna that might increase cost by making it a multi-phase project without actually giving us any benefit, because no one's gonna be able to move into part of the project until it's all done, so we would have to weigh that also. Are we trying to, you know, try to get it all done at one time? But it's certainly important for us to find another location for town hall and get town hall moved out as soon as possible for this to go forward. My hope is to be having that conversation over the next few weeks, and by January to have answers. We're on our way. That's where we are right now, and I think it makes sense for Labella to continue with the design phase. We can do that. They've gotten a long way with this so far. They know police stations. They've done a lot of them, large, small, all over the state. They're very familiar with it. They're very experienced, and so it probably makes sense to work with them in the design phase. And what we have right now, obviously, is a conceptual plan, and it doesn't have a whole lot of details. They have got a full program. We have looked at the per square foot needs for all the different functions that need to be in the building, and we're confident there's enough space here, but the nitty-gritty is there. Oh, I forgot to add that in terms of mitigating costs, that Fitness Solutions down the way told me that they want to donate all new fitness equipment for the police gym. So there's one donation to start us off to help us get going. So that's where we are right now, and I hope by the first meeting in January to have, if not sooner, to have some more reports. I just had promised a report and wanted to share at least this much, and I hope by before Christmas to have the final feasibility study out as well. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, then let me stop sharing my screen, if I can do that. Stop sharing.
I think it's on the Zoom piece.
Where'd you go? Oh, yeah, I'm in just exit Zoom wrong spot. Yep, hold on.
Yep.
Me and technology are not.
If you just click on your Zoom and exit.
Yes, I am trying to exit Zoom, but.
Right on the bottom.
Oh, no, but that's telling me it's the document.
See the little blue Zoom button at the very bottom of the
Oh, there we go. Got it. Stop share.
There you
Ta-da.
go.
Okay, there
You're
we go.
good.
All right, thank you. Okay, let me open the floor for anyone move to open the floor for anyone to speak for up to 3 minutes on any item they would like to speak to the board.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 6-0. Okay. Anyone who'd like to come and speak to us? Steve? Welcome back.
Yeah, and this is actually on the design stuff and, you know, agreeing that probably the police never should have been in that building, but you mentioned 5 different examples and choosing the least expensive one. You know, what are those ranges? I know there's not a full design yet to do so, but generally they say it's X, you know,
Yep.
things.
When we get the final feasibility study out, it will have proposed costs with it. They put a number of, we were just spending some time today looking at the contingency numbers, and we need to go back and have a couple more conversations with Labella and understand what they're proposing in terms of contingency costs. But by the time, when the final feasibility report is out in a couple of weeks, it will have numbers, but they're not clear yet, so.
Okay, because I would hope that those numbers are shared well in advance of anything and not 4 o'clock on the night before the public hearing.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
also in those numbers, as you say, that, you know, necessitates town hall moving, you know, those numbers should be included in the project, not just, I don't know what the price is gonna be, 50, 100 million, whatever it's gonna be for the police, but then there's gonna be probably not quite as equal because different needs, but
Right.
for the town hall.
Right. My hope is to have a plan for town hall, and to have everything bonded together so that all the costs are there together, because we obviously can't postpone the town hall piece of this for 10 years. That's not an option. The town hall piece has to happen. And we're looking at a couple of options now, so I'm hoping to be able to move forward to, in fact, we're going into executive session now to talk about some of the possibilities to make sure that we move that along. If we can bond by February, it would be great. That's the hope. But we need to get the information out first.
And somewhat related, but not exactly, the old town hall sitting on 44. Is that ever gonna get torn down, done something? I mean, it's just, I drive by it twice a day.
Yep.
Is there any plans to
It
tear
was,
it down?
I had this,
I know
the
it's not
county owns the
appropriate for
property,
building.
we own the building. It is in the floodway, and it actually has like 10 feet of water in the basement now. Apparently that has happened because of the way the Casper Kill was channeled when other buildings were built. So one of the first things I did as supervisor last year was ask the town engineer whether we could turn that into a recycling center or an environmental education center or just even some kind of useful space. And the answer seems to be no, we can't do much of anything with it. That means there's a cost to taking it down without really knowing what could go there next. I don't know whether that's put usable highway department space or not. It's something we should revisit when we have the more pressing stuff handled. I would really love to at least clean it up with the highway department and some other folks, maybe have a volunteer day when we try to make it look a little nicer. But yeah, Mike Simon gave me a tour and it's pretty much,
Did you go inside?
oh yeah.
I've been
Really?
inside too.
I've never been in. Not
Yeah,
that I-
I
well,
know the fire
it's-
department uses it for training.
Yeah,
they?
there's a
Inside.
lot of,
But yeah, there's a lot of things, and that's the thing.
Stuff in
that
there,
The
but-
more it
right.
stands vacant and unused,
Yep.
the greater liability for, the roof leaks, it crashes down, freezing and stuff. So
Yep.
it becomes then an emergency, so, it's making a plan,
Yep.
do something with it. Again, if tearing down is the best option, which may be, get it over before it half
Pretty sure
falls
it
down.
has a lot of asbestos in it, that's why it's still standing.
Yeah,
But
it's
again,
1949, I
eventually
think,
it's gonna
so.
fall down, and then it's gonna be an emergency cleanup that's gonna be twice as expensive.
Yeah,
Instead of planning for
yep.
it, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. My name is JP Rosa. I work for the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department. I'm one of the members on the building committee. I first want to say thank you that we're even at the point where we're at right now. This is probably the most movement we've had on paper, more or less, in the 11 years that I've been here. I do want to stress that we need to get out, and we need to get out yesterday. We needed to get out 11 years ago when I started here, and it's only gotten worse. So the time is of the essence here. I understand that you're going to continue to move. I just hope that the town board as a whole can work together, because every day we spend there is more time that is in the negative for us. Our membership, our number one concern right now for our membership is getting out of that building. And that shouldn't be something that should be our concern right now, especially with what we deal with on a daily basis. So coming from the time that I do have left here, I don't know if, I hope to see a building, but I don't want the guys that are walking in the door here to have to stay in that building for 10 years like we've been there. There's a good portion of our members that have been in that building for 20 years, and they shouldn't have been in there after the 2000 developments were happening. So I would just hope that the town board can come together, continue to move forward, and that if, all the red tape that needs to be cut, let's do that. It's just super important that we don't have we're waiting for 6 months for this. I would hope that it's, all right, we're gonna start setting deadlines, and those deadlines are relayed continuous with us, because when we go 6 months or, a year with what we think is no movement, where there's been a lot of things going behind, on behind the scenes, I understand that you guys need to keep some things just for the essence of moving around, but you've now determined this is probably gonna be our home at this point, and it's nice to see that we're moving forward. I just hope that we can get us out of the police department as quick as we possibly can.
We will keep working as fast as we can and try to be as transparent as we can, which is why, even though I don't have a final feasibility report, I wanted to at least say, this is where we are, we're close, the feasibility report's coming, we want to begin design as soon as we can in the new year. It's actually really helpful to me, other board members can speak, but I find it very helpful for the police to advocate for how important this is and how urgent it is, how much we really need to do this. because it's not an easy lift for a board to do the bonding we're gonna do early next year and to borrow this much money. And a lot of, well, I won't go off on a tangent about residents being very, very excited about supporting our first responders until you have to spend money. But I think that there is a, you know, it's not easy, right? People, it's tough to say we're adding to the overall expenditures of the town to do this, and at a time when groceries were expensive and things like that, but it absolutely must be done. And so the more that, you know, you can make it clear that this is urgent and needed and let people know what the conditions are now, that we can work together to that, to make sure that this happens.
100%.
Thank you for
Yes.
speaking up, Officer
Thanks.
Rosa.
Yeah, thank you.
I just had a quick question on your comments.
Sure.
Are we going to set up a liaison so that as we're making decisions, once everything's transparent, they can just go straight to the PBA?
Yep.
And let you guys know?
Chief and Lieutenant Farine have been the point people on the police courts committee. We're now shifting. If this is the direction we're gonna go, we've been seeking the right site, and we're now at the point where we can say, yes, I think this is the right site. Yes, the police and courts can fit here. Yes, the Elks are gonna help us out, and we're gonna make an agreement with them, and we can use the parking. Yes, this works. So from there on, it's a little bit of a different task, because it's gonna be design work within the building and the details of what goes where. And so I'll work with Chief to determine who are the right liaisons to be as absolutely transparent as we can in that process, and to make sure we're consulting the folks who are gonna be living in that building. So, this building. All right? Anybody else who wanted to speak? Thank you very much for speaking. Doreen, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, I actually had probably the same questions that Steve had about costs, but it sounds like that won't be available to a future meeting, so that was it.
It will be soon. Once we clarify what those costs are, and I know that I don't want to give people a number without being able to actually explain those numbers. And needless to say, we're trying to make sure that, you know, we're looking at things like a 5% contingency for economic volatility and things like that, that we're just trying to make sure we understand all the numbers before we put numbers out there. So we will try to do that as soon as we can.
And I do appreciate the chief coming up to the microphone to speak, because it makes it much easier to hear than when he's in the back of the room, so thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Steve, welcome. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
My question is revolving around the janitorial bid. The janitorial bid was sent out with an extensive scope of work that requires 4 times per year strip and wax of floors, machine buffing of floors, carpet cleaning 4 times per year, the supplies, all janitorial supplies, paper goods, disposables. If I look at $5,200 per month, and I use the ISSA standard, which says that we can clean 3,000 square feet per hour per man, that leaves $19 per hour on a 9-hour day to clean this facility. That's without strip and wax. That's without the supplies. 6% of every contract requires a payment for insurance on gross revenue. I'd like to know how it is feasible that this company at $5,200 a month will work at $19 an hour and pay the $17.80 in the prevailing wage. It's illogical. And unless you're accepting a lesser scope of work than was advertised to the cleaning companies, it is a physical impossibility to accept that bid.
Thank you very much. We did affirm that we would need to the documentation to make sure that the bid meets our needs.
So just to give you an idea, if I could speak to that a little louder. If there's a 28,000 square foot facility. If we just took simple math at 28,000 square feet, and we multiply that at 40 cents to do a strip and wax carpet cleaning, and that's a very low price, 40 cents a square foot. It's normally 65 to 70. That would be $11,200 per quarter. That alone is $44,800 just for floor service. If this bid is accepted, there is no possible way that they are paying prevailing wage, or the town is accepting a lesser scope of work than what was advertised to the cleaning companies. I'd like to know, which one do you think it is?
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? All right, then seeing none, thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah, I just have one announcement to make, that this Saturday in Arlington is their holiday festival. The eggnog crawl is gonna be happening. We've got Santa, we've got a fire pit roasting marshmallows, and there's going to be, a little boutique outdoor shopping too, so.
And I totally forgot the holiday caravan, which will start
yeah.
at 4, step off at 4:30, be coming through Arlington and end up at the gallery around 6-ish. And thank you very much to the same day, Saturday, this Saturday. Thank you very much to the town police and to the highway department and all the departments that participate and bring the trucks. I know I really like the vac truck, so there's a lot of really great equipment. And tons and tons of people come out to watch.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah,
so thank you,
it's
everyone.
noon to 5, the eggnog crawl is, noon to, you have to pick up your tickets by 4 o'clock, and then it continues on until 5 o'clock, so.
All right. Great. Thank you. Be it resolved that the town board does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following. 6A, the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular employee. And 8, the proposed acquisition of real property when publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. So moved.
Second.
Right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.